What's up, everybody? It's Joe from Empire Music, empiremusic.com in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are one of 20 worldwide Martin custom expert dealers, bringing you the best Martin stuff first, like this huge launch for 2025. Check out empiremusic.com. You can see our entire Martin selection, see exact photos, never a stock photo. Chat with us on the site. Know that we always do a full pro setup on everything we sell, dialing it in to the best playing experience for that specific guitar, giving you a world-class experience that we're really proud of. And man, today is a big day for Martin Guitars, launching, at the time of filming here, the new for 2025 refresh of the Standard Series. Standard Series represent Martin's most iconic made USA guitars, and today is not only a launch of new models like this incredible 00017, but also a refresh and redesign of the current standing models that have been around, giving us not only a better sonic experience, an interior upgrade that is massive in the bracing, cosmetic upgrades, and feel upgrades. So I'm gonna get through all of the awesome features here in this video. So the 00017, an all solid wood, all mahogany design, mahogany top, back and sides, beautiful satin guitar. Like this here. You can see just a really gorgeous instrument. I love mahogany guitars. I think they sound sweet and round. Martin gives us that warmth and that growl of the bottom end that we love. A percussive, natural kind of crunchiness to mahogany guitars. They're just really kind of raw and organic sounding. I absolutely love the way they sound. They look beautiful, as you can see. This guitar is just gorgeous looking. Standard 000 design, so we have a short scale. We have a really easy playing, beautiful sounding instrument. This guitar has all the new upgrades packed into it. So there's basically a handful of things we have to talk about. We have to talk about bracing. There's some sonic changes, the bracing, how the nut is cut. There's some cosmetic changes, and then there's some feel changes. So I won't bury the lead. Let's get to the bracing for all the new Standard Series models. Introducing now, standard in the guitars, is the Golden Era bracing package. The Golden Era bracing package represents a huge upgrade over the standard bracing that Martin was using. It's a much more complicated bracing pattern that is reduced in terms of they're reducing the amount of bracing. Essentially, they're carving deeper into the tone bars, giving us more response, more sustain, more output, more character, faster responding, a more breathy, vintage inspired feel. And it is totally noticeable. A guitar like this obviously didn't exist last year, so we don't have any comparisons to them. But if you check out all of our videos that Justin shot comparing the 2024 design and prior to the new 2025s, you'll absolutely notice the huge difference in Golden Era bracing. Before this year, Golden Era bracing was only available in modern deluxe guitars and in the custom shop. So this is a huge step forward for the standard line, giving us this really the ability to get complex tones, warmer tones, fuller tones out of our guitar, which, raise your hand if you don't want that. Everybody is looking for that in their instruments. There's no downside to it. It's only a massive win for guitar players having these built in. Additionally, the nut has been cut, and Brent's gonna have us, you're gonna see a visual here that you'll see the nut is no longer cut straight with the fingerboard, which is how it was. It's cut at an angle in line with the headstock. Gives us a different break angle and more sustain. A nice touch. Again, that one isn't a world-changing experience, but compared to or matched with the bracing, you get a different break angle for more sustain. You're going to notice that with all of these changes, the Golden Era bracing aside, all these other changes aren't reasons necessarily to rush out and buy a new guitar. The Golden Era bracing is, but all the other ones are nice changes, but when all put together, make for a huge different playing experience. So if now you have Golden Era bracing, we have our new nut angle. Then what they've done is they've taken the fingerboard and they've taken it to the authentic fingerboard thickness, which is thinner than they were before. So they took thickness out of the fingerboard and added that thickness to the back of the neck, so it feels nearly identical to the previous iterations. You wouldn't notice it if we didn't tell you. But what it allowed for with that fingerboard being thinner is they're able to round it in, and you're able to get to the frets faster. So now you have a more played-in experience. It's rounder. You don't have as big of a wall of the actual fingerboard itself. So a much sleeker feel. And by rounding those edges in, guitar plays like an old instrument, kind of like an old friend. Very homey feeling without any of the problems of an old guitar. So really an amazing upgrade there for us. Martin has also given us rounded bridge ends. So before, these were cut basically all at hard 90-degree angles. So now we have basically an ergonomic, rounded, cornered bridge. So if you rest your hand there, it's not so comfortable, on the prior designs because they're just so pointy. Now you have a kind of a played-in, reduced feel there. In that line, they've taken the heel, and I'm going to show you a profile here. And this is thinner now. They've added a sleeker design. They've made it thinner, so it's not as chunky, which makes a big difference when we're playing up the neck. So it's a sleeker, more sophisticated design. I think it just feels less clumsy, and definitely notice it when you're up around that 12th fret. Your thumb isn't resting on the top of the heel, making it harder to get up high, which is really nice. Finally, they went to, on all the standard models, either a bone or ebony bridge pins and nut. So this has the bone, giving us more sustain, more power, more tone. Just an enormous win for all of us who love Martin guitars. These sound incredible, huge tone. The golden era bracing, I could really just spend the time talking about that, because these other features are really important because they really make the instrument as a whole play better and the experience better. Without the golden era bracing, like I said, maybe not a reason to just go out and try a new guitar. Sure, go out and try, but maybe you're happy with your previous guitars. It's not a sonic difference that much, so hey, whatever. But with the golden era bracing, you're talking about a totally elevated sonic experience. Imagine your guitar having more character, having more bloom. When you play light, having all that fullness still, but as you open an instrument up and push it, getting all those overtones, it's all right here. It's really interesting on a guitar like this, with a mahogany top that has natural compression, isn't going to be as powerful as the spruce top. How much bigger it sounds and how much fuller it sounds, you can tell that right away. What's cool is that when you play the guitar lightly, you get this kind of like mature sounding, there's some really, really complex, interesting tones in there. And as you open it up, it gives you way more power than you expect out of an orchestra body shape. So if you watch my videos, you know I like to do dynamic range, and I like to do the mids of the guitar to show balance, because anybody can make a big, dumb, loud sounding guitar, not impressive. It's much harder to make a guitar that sounds great when you push it loud. It keeps articulation and sounds really mature and full when you're playing light, and they've done a phenomenal job here. And that articulation is going to continue through with the mids, which you're going to hear. So you get really this beautiful sounding instrument that has each note getting its own voice, which is a desire we should all have as guitar players. So let's check it out and see what you think. Man, a lot to unpack. Mahogany has this kind of percussive nature that I love about it. And when you're strumming this guitar big, even though it's an orchestra model, it really, really gives you that output that is surprising. You feel it against your body, so you definitely experience the feel and the touch of the guitar while you experience the sonic nature of it. So you're really taking that all in at once. Big sounding guitar. It's got that chunky bottom end, kind of thuddy, but still nice and tight in the sense of its individual note response and how you're hearing the low E and the A working during those times. They're not getting just pushed into sludge. Really, really impressive. When you play the guitar light, the sound just feels like it's like, I just imagine it like notes coming out of the sound hole. It's just this beautiful experience where they're it's kind of soaring out with ease, which is not only impressive, but the depth of the notes is really where it gets you excited. It's almost like that grand piano feel where you hear something and you're just like, ooh, what is that? And it's like all this happening in just one note. Phenomenal. You play through the middle of the guitar, a really shining example is when you're up here, all that body of the tone, and there's no work, I'm picking lightly through there and the sound's just coming out with ease. It's such an interesting experience as a guitar player because things like golden era bracing that typically come in $4,000 and $5,000 and $6,000 guitars, when they're put into something like this, you take that one feature and you add it, and it makes such a massive difference that it's almost like incomprehensible that, taking the bracing, carving it deeper, hand finishing it to make it really, really the best that guitar can be, supporting the top of the guitar for a long period of time. It's a lifetime, you're guaranteed the guitar for life, so that you're not worried about the top not being strong enough. It's a proven design, so you have this amazing ability to get all this extra tone out of that bracing design, which you don't really think about. And as you shift down in here, now you get kind of the throatiness of the mahogany, but you still keep all the articulation. It's just outrageous, a really huge upgrade to these models. Well, this one wasn't here last year. The whole standard series is getting it. So it's kind of like top down this. Let's talk big picture down to small picture. Big picture new for 2025 is the 00017. Didn't exist. Made in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, our home state. All solid mahogany, dovetail neck joint, satin finish, just a gorgeous, gorgeous instrument. A short scale, so 24.9 inch scale. That's what you can expect. So you know that that's the case. Now let's talk about kind of what would be new for the standard series in 2025 that's included in this. The golden era bracing design, which is a much more complicated, thinned out bracing design, giving us a more vintage inspired tone, a little breathier, a little bit more complex. Definitely a big win in ours for sure. You have your bone bridge pins. You have a vintage cut nut, giving us a different break angle, giving us more sustain. You have a thinner fingerboard, allowing for easier reaching around to the notes, a more broken in, rounded feel, so they're addressing all those fret ends to make sure that the guitar feels more broken in, more comfortable. You add that to a more sleek heel design, which is vintage inspired, old school how Martin used to do it. Then you have the modern belly bridge, so it's cut so it's not so sharp and kind of all rounded out, equals a massive win for all of us in Martin land. Includes a hard shell case. Can't do better than this. This is a really we're so stoked. We have all the guitars in stock. You can check them out at empiremusic.com. Chat with us through the site, call us. We'd love to talk to you about these specific guitars, anything in the Martin lineup, anything in stock, and we will dial it in, making sure it's the best playing version of that guitar on earth. We put a ton of pride in that, and our customers will back us up on it. So we know we'll do a great job for you, package it up pro, and give you the best new Martin guitar for 2025. So I'm Joe from Empire Music. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't. Check out all of our new for 2025 Martin models. This is the new 00017 right here at Empire. Thanks for watching.